Shalom. I want to give all praise and all the glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai Bahashem, Ha Rekah Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. Also, I want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm trying to just get some Passover scriptures, so that brothers can, when they see this, we're trying to get in that Passover spirit, a solemn spirit, and really a time of examining ourselves and, getting ready for the Passover, which is on this Wednesday coming up, 2 days from now. All right. So I'm going to read some verses out of Exodus 12. Just for time's sake, I'm going to pull out some verses because I got to go make some shekels. But let's see. We'll start out with we'll go to 7. Well, you know what we'll start at. All right, we'll start at 5. It says, "Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats." All right, so we eat lamb on the Passover. But the thing is this just shows you that we can't keep the laws to perfection, because we don't. Originally in the biblical times, they would have farms and they would use their own lambs to do the Passover, to keep the Passover. So they would take lambs without blemish, right? But can we do that in captivity? No, the best we can do for, the majority of the brothers in this truth is just go buy some lamb and cook that thing up on the Passover, all right? But let's keep reading. Shows you, it's impossible to keep the laws to perfection, none of us have farms, We can't raise goats and take a lamb and take a lamb from our own farm that's without blemish. We do it to the best of our ability. In Judges 5:11, it tells you that we're rehearsing the righteous acts. Okay, so that's what we're doing. It's a rehearsal. So you newer brothers who are keeping the Passover this year, just do the best to your ability. What your understanding is. If you're not allowed to sit with the camp, and you're new, do it to the best of your ability, right? If you're unproven, so to speak, let's see, verse 6. "And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening." All right, so that's why we don't eat it until the sun goes down, right? We won't be eating the lamb or the dinner until that sun goes down. That's when we start the ceremony. So let me keep reading. "And they shall take the blood and strike it on the 2 side posts on the upper doorpost of the houses wherein they shall eat it." All right. So see, that's another law we can't keep. I live in an apartment building. I can't go rub the blood of the lamb on the front of the door, right? They just the apartment complex over here, I had like a net cover kind of type of like on my patio, and that was a violation. So you think these people are going to be okay with me rubbing a lamb's blood on their doorpost over here? No. Another example, we can't keep these laws to perfection, so we keep it to the best of our ability. All right. Verse 8. "And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with the bitter herbs they shall eat it. All right. So brothers can get wasabi. That's considered a bitter herb, and you don't have to eat a bunch of wasabi, because if you've ever had that stuff is like, I remember last year, the brother Halakia and I kept the Passover together, and I mean I don't know if it's wasabi, but it was a bitter herb, and man, it was so hot you couldn't even, you took a little tiny bit, just a dash, a pinch, and you were like, okay, tried to eat as much as we could, but it wasn't much. Anyway, verse 8. And they shall eat the flesh in that night. Oh, Salaki, I read that. Verse 9. Eat of it not raw nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire his head with his legs, and the putenance thereof. So, if I remember right, when you go into that word putenance, because I looked it up last year, it's going into like the organs and stuff. See, so we're not going to be eating the organs. Another example of us not keeping it to perfection. All right. Verse 10. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning. That which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire. So if you get a lamb, you're supposed to eat the entire thing. You're not supposed to have any leftovers, so to speak. All right. So brothers who are doing the Passover with, only 2 or 3 brothers, consider that. You don't want to go buy, a whole lamb and then have leftovers, all right? Because that's not what this is about. You don't eat no leftovers. Because remember, we were leaving Egypt. You think we were able to eat the leftovers after we escaped Egypt? So verse 11. And thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, meaning you belt, right, ready to go, like, because we had to leave when the Egyptians were going to pursue us, so we had to just get out of Dodge. We didn't have time to, mess around. That's why it's like, put your belts on. You don't, because if these Egyptians, when they start coming to pursue us, hey, you're not girding your loins, then you don't want to be, running from the Egyptians without your belt and your pants is falling down and whatnot, So that's why it says, eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. Meaning, as soon as you're done eating, because you literally standing up eating this meal. We eat it, and then we get out of Dodge, man. You don't have time to be kicking your shoes off, laying down. No, this is a time of haste. All right? Oh, and that's what we're reading next. And thus said, ye eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, right? Keep your shoes on. Don't be taking your shoes off. And because remember, if you had to get away, you got to have your shoes on. You ain't got time to do all that. Where we at? And ye shall eat it in haste, meaning eat it quickly, right? It is the Lord's Passover. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and I will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt, the powers of Egypt, I will execute judgment. I am Yahweh. So you see, again, the elders, we're all stressing this is a solemn holiday. It's not a celebration. It's not like the elder Apostle Gabar, I just watched his video. It's not a night at Club Spanky, is what he's, that's their term the elders have said in the past, You don't treat it as a night at Club Spanky. No, it's a solemn holiday, all right? Holy day, I should say. So let me look up that word solemn. Well, it doesn't look like it wants to come up right there. Let me see. Oops. So let's see. Where are we at? Verse 13. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. When I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. All right, so this is spiritual Egypt, right? We're keeping the Passover in spiritual Egypt, and this is the whole ceremony. The whole point is to the Israelites, when they were in Egypt, in ancient Egypt, this was our protection. You see, so right now, because like I said, we don't put blood on the post, but it's a spiritual thing, right? We go out to teach, we do camps. That's our spiritual, way of putting blood on the post. Me doing this lesson, this is a spiritual way that I'm, putting blood on the doorpost, right? Because I'm not going to go out there and rub blood on my doorpost. These Edomites call the cops. They'll put me in the crazy house. So remember, that's what we're doing here. 14. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to Yahweh throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. So we have to keep the Passover forever. This is a true holy day that goes forever, generation unto generation. Okay? And I'm going to jump down to 19. Says, 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses, for whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or be born in the land. So you see the seriousness of the leavened bread, all right? Because the leaven, it represents yeast is like a fungus, a bacteria, right? So it's like filthiness, or that would be a good word to use. That's what the leaven represents, like the filthiness, right? So that's why we don't eat the leavened bread, okay? So you got it, like brothers we've been talking about this week. Tuesday night, make sure you have all the leaven taken out of your home. Whether you want to put it in your car or throw it out, whatever whatever brothers deem is feasible or necessary, right? But you do have to remove the leaven from your house for 7 days, right? You don't want to eat it, just like we read here. Verse 20, ye shall eat nothing leavened, in all your habitations shall eat unleavened bread. So we got to eat unleavened bread, like corn tortillas would be an example, okay? And also a point with the leavened bread, like when you're baking something, the leaven and the yeast is what causes whatever you're baking to expand and rise. So another reason is because, look, when we were in Egypt and eating the Passover, keeping the Passover, we didn't have time to we're going to go bake some bread, because, that takes time. No, the bread was unleavened, all right? So you didn't have time for that dough to rise, so to speak, okay? Because remember, it's a serious thing. Just think about it. This was the night we were led out of Egypt, when Yahweh Hashem Yahshai led us out of Egypt, So let me see. And the Passover, again, I want to stress, it's a heavy, solemn holiday. It's heavy. Lots of things happen on these Passovers, all right? A couple years back, we had the Passover, and then what followed? The COVID came right after, So that was a dramatic thing, The towns were on lockdown, And it was right after the Passover. Verse... let me see. All right, so okay, let me just read this, because if you have kids, this is like if your kids are asking, what is the Passover about? It says, and it shall come to pass, when your children shall say unto you, what mean ye by this service? That ye shall say, it is the sacrifice of Yahweh's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, and when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses, and the people bowed the head and worshiped. All right, You want to be real with your kids. You say, what is this about? Well, hey, this is about when we left Egypt, and these Egyptians were, they wanted to pursue us and kill us. But remember, the Passover, what happened was their firstborn children, their beasts, and their children, meaning their cattle, their children, all the firstborns were put to death on the night of the Passover. All right. So you see, our people were in that solemn state praying, right? Because Moses had, let them know, hey, we're going to be getting out of here. Just think about that. We're the prophets. We're telling you, hey, we're going to get out of spiritual Egypt. And Lord's will, hey, you never know. This thing could pop off like right away. Maybe what it is this war that they're using to, and I'm just speculating, but maybe they're going to use this war to scare the people into the microchip, and then those nuclear missiles will come. So we may be getting out of Egypt, spiritual Egypt, very soon, Lord's will. It's the spirit a lot of people are thinking right now. A lot of the men of the Lord, we're talking like that right now. Again, the prophecies do have to be in order, right? So I don't want to get ahead, and that CHIP still has to come out. All right. And another thing about the Passover is you can't just have anybody come to your Passover, all right? So, you have to, worthy people are at the Passover. Like in ancient Egypt, if they had an Egyptian friend and their friend was like, hey, let me come over for the Passover, you have people like, oh, come on, let's celebrate the Passover. That's not the right mindset. It's not a celebration. And it's not like a good time where you say, hey, come over to my house for the Passover. No, this is an exclusive thing for the ones who are circumcising their minds and their hearts spiritually, right? Unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You can't just bring, it's not for the heathen. And I'm going to, if Lord's will, pull that verse out. You can't bring a heathen, meaning somebody who's not a part of this truth, to your Passover, all right? There have been diligent brothers in our camp where they're not even going to be able to attend our Passover because they haven't crossed the line quite yet, But those brothers are enduring and they're staying diligent. Lord's will, this is our last Passover. But if it come to next year, hey, Lord's will, those brothers will be able to be in a part of our Passover next year. But like I say, Lord's will, this is the last Passover, man. Man, let me and then real quick, just a little explanation on the food that we consume on the Passover. The lamb represents Yahweh Shai, right? The lamb without blemish. That's why we're supposed to have an unblemished lamb that represents Yahweh Shai. The wine represents the blood of Yahweh Shai. See, the bread, the body, and then the bitter herbs they represent, so as a reminder of how bitter this place is. All right, eat spiritual Egypt. That's why we eat bitter herbs, to remind us that, hey, this place it can make you bitter. It is a bitter. The word America literally means bitter. You see? So we have to remember as that was the commandment. Hey, when you eat these bitter herbs, it's for a memorial of remembering how bitter it was in Egypt. And that's why the 2/3 after they had the Exodus, they left Egypt. They were complaining about the garlics and leeks, and they could eat better when they were in Egypt. Now they were in the wilderness. They were getting mad at Moses and Aaron. And you see, and that's why that generation never saw the promised land, right? They just wandered in the wilderness, and that chariot never took them out of that area, They never entered into the promised land, that generation, okay? So that's what the bitter herbs is for, though. And the wine is the blood, the unleavened bread is the body, and like I said, the lamb represents Yahweh Shai. So with that, I'm gonna jump to. But again, I do want to stress it's a solemn solemn holy day. Let's go to Matthew real quick, and I'll read a couple accounts of the apostles on on the Passover that they kept during the Last Supper of Yahweh Shai, right? That's what they were. The people know about the Last Supper. That's what the Last Supper was. The apostles and Yahweh Shai keeping the Passover. And it was the night our Lord got taken, the kiss of betrayal from Judas Iscariot by the Roman soldiers, right? So this is when they captured him, captured Yahweh Shai to put him, on that cross. And hey, you think this is a party? You're going to celebrate the death of Yahweh Shai? No, that's why we say it's a solemn, holy day, all right? I'm going to go to Matthew 26 and start at 17. It says, now it says, let me go to it, Matthew 26 and 17. It says, now the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and that's another name for the Passover, is the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the disciples came to Yahushua, saying unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? And he said, go into the city in such a man, and say unto him, the master saith, my time is at hand, I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples. See, so that's why, it's exclusive. You're not going to just have everybody, you don't invite your brothers and sisters outside of the truth who are not in the truth, this is, it's the ones who are worthy. And what makes you worthy is by doing the work, okay? Being a part of this thing for a while, Verse 19. And again, it's exclusive. It was his disciples. It didn't say, there were a bunch of people coming over. There were no women at the Last Supper, which when they were keeping the Passover, it was just the men. It was just the disciples. Let's read it. And verse 19, and the disciples did as Yahushua had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. Now when the even was come, he sat down with the 12. And he said, and as they did eat, he said, verily I say unto you that one of you shall betray me. And they were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto him, Yahushua, is it I? So you think they were happy and celebrating in that situation when Yahushua said, hey, one of you guys is going to deceive me? No, they were worried. It says they were sorrowful. That sound like a party? No, this is a solemn feast. I want to keep stressing that for the newer brothers and the people watching this video, you see. Verse 23. And he answered and said, he that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me. The Son of Man goeth, and you can imagine the fear that the apostles had, the disciples had. They were scared. They were like, man, is it me? Is it me? Am I going to be the one to betray? Because, they didn't know that Judas was the culprit, you see. For if that man, the Son of Man goeth as it is written of him, but woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born, right? So when you betray Yahushua, that it had been better off not even being born. Verse 25. Then Judas, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? He said unto him, thou hast said. So he said, you called it yourself, you see. Verse 26. And as they were eating, Yahushua took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, take it, this is my body. And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it. For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins, which that many is dealing with Israelites, okay? Because, just reading this, I used to be in the Catholic Church. I was actually an altar boy when I was young, you know. And they do this ceremony. This is part of their Catholic ceremony where they hold up the bread and hold up the wine, and the priest, you know, and just to think, because I never the Passover and the Last Supper, I never realized that, the Last Supper was the disciples keeping the Passover, because they really don't teach you shit in Catholicism, and they don't know shit, but they deceive people, so they'll do part of, the ceremony and or the ritual, if you want to call it. But the thing is they you never learn shit in those fake churches. All right. This is verse 29. It says, "But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." All right, because Yahweh Shai knew the time had come. It was time for the betrayer to betray him. It was time for him to be, basically deal with his fulfillment of prophecy and become that sacrificial lamb. See? So let me read one more account. Well, you know what? Let me go to 1 Corinthians real quick. And I'm actually going to just do Matthew and then 1 Corinthians. Okay, I was going to bring out some more accounts, Luke and Mark's account of the Passover, of the Last Supper. But I don't, I'm running out of time here. So let's see. We'll go to 1 Corinthians 11, and I'm going to start at 23. All right, let's go to 1 Corinthians 11 and verse 17. It says, yeah, yeah, that'll be good. Okay. Let's see, verse 17 says, "Now in this I declare unto you, I praise you not, that ye come together, not for the better, but for the worse. First of all, when ye come together in the church, I hear that there be divisions among you, and I partly believe it. For there must be also heresies among you, that which are approved may be made manifest among you." All right. Let me just look up that word, heresies. So, we got to, tighten up the ship with Passover too, Plus, especially with the times that we're entering in, we're on the brink of the third woe, you see, which aka World War III, and we need to tighten the ship. The brothers need to, can't be no divisions among us. See? Let me see here. Let me see how you spell this. Here. Let me just get that. Oh, okay. This is the definition of a heresy: a belief or opinion contrary to orthodox religious doctrine. Okay. So if you're basically anything going off from this true doctrine we're bringing out, if you believe or you have an opinion on something that doesn't line up with this truth, that's what he's saying. For there must be also heresies among you, that which they are approved may be made manifest among you. See? So things are going to manifest. Things will be, if you're not on one accord, it's going to be shown. All right? Things will come to the light. where are we at? Let me see. Verse 20. When ye come together, therefore, into one place, it is not to eat the Lord's Supper. For in eating, everyone taketh before other his own supper, and one is hungry and another is drunken. What? Have ye not houses to eat and to drink in? Or despise ye that church of Yahweh, the power, and shame that you have not? What will I say? Shall I praise you in this? I praise you not. All right. So that's pretty heavy. He's not, like I say, it's a serious holiday. It's not a time where, we're going to be uplifting our own selves. No, we're going to be, because you got to remember the mood in the room was tense. You think about it. Yahushua knew he was going on the cross. He knew he was going to be betrayed. He knew that, it was heavy. It was a heavy night. Again, it's not a celebration. It's not a party. Verse 20, where are we at? 22. What have ye not houses to eat and drink in, or despise ye that the church of the power Yahweh, and shame that them that have not? What shall I say to you? Shall I praise you in this? I praise you not, right? Let's see, verse 23. For I have received of Yahweh that which also I delivered unto you, that Yahweh Shai, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And he gave thanks and brake it and said, Take it, this is my body which is broken of you. Do this in remembrance of me. All right, verse 25. After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, The cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye, as oft as ye drink it, in remembrance of me. All right. So that blood represents the represents the cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye, and drink it in remembrance of me. All right. So that's that second covenant, that spiritual covenant that we, where we're basically going to have all of the laws, statutes, commandments written in our minds, in our hearts, right? So that's what it is, Lord's will, I wanted to just get a quick video out on the Passover, and Lord's will, that was edifying. Let me see if I can get that verse about the let me just see if I can find this. Yes, I think I did. I think this is it. Well, let's go to Exodus 12. Go back to Exodus 12 and 40. All right, we'll read from 40. We'll start at 42. Let me get my scripture. So we'll start at 42. And it says, "It is a night to be much observed unto Yahweh for bringing them out of the land of Egypt." That's what we're doing. We're observing and recognizing and remembering the night we came out of Egypt, out of captivity, right? And Yahweh said unto Moses and Aaron, "This is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof." And that word stranger would go into Gentile or heathen, right? When you look up that word stranger, it means Gentile or a heathen, someone who's not in this truth. So that's why you can't just have anybody eat at your Passover, you see? That's why it's exclusive for the brothers who are in this truth, and even more exclusive. Like I say, there are brothers that have been at our camp, diligent brothers, but unfortunately they have not crossed that line. They haven't crossed the line. So not even those brothers are able to keep the Passover with the brothers who are keeping the Passover. You see. So it says, let me read it again. "And Yahweh said unto Moses and Aaron, This is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof." All right. "But every man's servant that is bought for money, when thou hast circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof." So if you have a servant and circumcised, and it's going into circumcision of your mind and your heart, right? Meaning you're in this truth, you're repenting, you know what it is, and it's no longer are you a stranger to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. That's who's that's who can eat at the Passover. 45. "A foreigner and an hired servant shall not eat thereof." Right? So see, that's how serious it is. Not just everybody is welcomed at the Passover. All right. "In one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth out of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall you break a bone thereof." Right? So you remember you got to burn the food. It said in the earlier in Exodus 12. But you don't want to have any leftovers. All right? You don't want to take the leftovers with you. And verse 47, "All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover for Yahweh, let all his males be circumcised, and let him come near and keep it. And it shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof." Right? And the uncircumcision is dealing with the uncircumcision of, or the circumcision of our hearts and our minds. Like I said, meaning being a part of this truth, repenting, coming into the truth knowledge, right? You can't invite the Catholic priest or your Catholic friends to your Passover. You can't invite somebody who is involved in the Christian church, the Renaissance Christian church, right? These modern Christians, they can't come to the Passover, all right? Like I say, it's a solemn holiday, and only deemed for those who are diligent and devoted, okay, in this truth. So, with that, I want to give all praise and all the glory unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Ha Rekah Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akim who are pushing this truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. All right. Shalom to the elect.